In the next 14 minutes, we are going to build and deploy a fully working app using Lovable. And by the end, you'll have no excuse not to ship your own app idea. I've shipped dozens of apps using AI tools, and Lovable is one of the easiest ways to get started. This isn't just theory. We are going to, right here and right now, build a real working app. Stick around until the end because I'm going to share an advanced technique with you that, if you want, allows you to build off of Lovable using tools like Claude Code and Codex on the same code base. To start, we're just going to send off a simple prompt in plan mode. So down in the input, we're going to switch from build to plan, and we're going to send this off. I want to build an app that is a workout programming builder. And what I like about Lovable is it's going into this planning chat where we're going to go back and forth with the AI to analyze and refine our plan for what it's actually going to build before it starts to code. And this really helps you get better results. So I definitely recommend doing the plan mode versus just doing the build mode. Now, if you're wondering why I use Lovable instead of something like Claude Code or Codex, Lovable is just easier to use and get started with. It's an all-in-one platform, and you're going to see later on how the backend database and publishing really showcases that compared to using something like Claude Code or Codex, which is coding on your computer. So the primary user of the workout programming builder, coaches, individuals, gyms, or hybrid. I'm going to say individuals instead of coaches. What features do we want? Exercise library, program builder, templates, and I'm going to stop there. Click next. Do I need user accounts and database now or start as a local only prototype? So yes, accounts plus cloud or local prototype. I'm going to say yes, we do want Lovable Cloud for auth persistent data and sharing. Now, we could do local prototype first, and if you want, you could connect to your own database separate from Lovable, something like Supabase or Neon, but it's much easier to use the Lovable Cloud. You are getting a little bit locked into the Lovable ecosystem in this case. Now, it's not permanent. You could migrate your database, but just something to be aware of. But I think if you just want the easiest solution, I would enable Lovable Cloud. So that's what I'm going to do for this app that we're building. And auth means user authentication. So logging in, signing up. So kind of having a login on your app. Do you want me to generate a few design directions or just go with a clean default? Why don't we do 3 design directions? I like that idea. And I'm going to submit those questions. So back to what I was saying. So, if you use something like Claude Code, and I have other videos on that, so you can check out our channel for more videos on how to build with something like Claude Code or Codex. You just have to bring your own user authentication and database through something like Supabase or Neon, and then you have to deploy yourself through Vercel. So it's definitely possible. I have videos on how to do it, but Lovable just makes it easy as an all-in-one platform. Okay, so we have 3 design directions, and it looks like they're all in this dark mode design, which is kind of interesting. I would have thought maybe they would have done kind of like a dark and light mode. So here we have version 1, version 2, and version 3. So of these, I think I like version 2, where it has like weeks on the left side and then the days and then the routine inside of those days. So I'm going to go ahead and select version 2. And now that we've approved the plan, Lovable is going to start building this out. Stick around for what's coming up next. We're going to show you how to add the backend database, how to add user authentication, and how to make sure the design actually looks good on both a laptop screen and a phone screen. Something that you might not be aware of, which is just kind of cool, is that the backend database, which we're going to get into more later, as I mentioned, even through Lovable Cloud, it is powered by Supabase. So you have a really powerful and stable backend through Supabase, through Lovable Cloud, even though it's not actually your own Supabase account. And again, like I talked about before, it is possible to migrate off Lovable Cloud or bring your own Supabase account. And Supabase is typically the database of choice that I go with when I'm building with like Claude Code or Codex. Okay, so we have our first version and it says the app is built. You now have a dark focus workspace, email, password, Google sign-in. That's the authentication I talked about. A programs list, multi-week builder, inline, editable, sets with reps, loads, and more. Searchable exercise library with custom additions and a save as template plus create from template rows. So let's actually test this out. In Lovable, we have our preview here on the right side. And then if you go to this more button on the top left of the page, and you go to database, we can see the actual database that was built out. And this is what I mentioned. It's really Supabase powering it in the back. And we have exercises, so we can click on that and you can see all of the exercises in that exercise table that it built out for us. We don't have any users yet. If we click on users, or it might just list us, our account as a user, it actually doesn't. So we have no users yet until we actually create our account. But the users in database can be seen here in the cloud. There's also some AI functionality, which we can add in a little bit later. You're going to want to stay tuned for that. It's really cool. And you can run SQL. You can do all of the advanced things here if you want, but we also can have our agent handle all of that. So let's test it out. I'm going to click get started. Let's log in or create an account. So now let's actually test out the functionality. So we're going to click new program, and why don't we call this, we'll just do test, and 4 weeks, 4 days, create program. And there is an error on the app. All right. And this is a cool feature that Lovable has, is when there is an error, you can start by just clicking try to fix, and Lovable will basically take the error message and send that to the AI to try to fix. So let's see what it comes up with. All right, so it fixed it, and now we can see, basically we have the weeks we can click into, the days, and then add exercises from the library on the right. So we can click barbell curl, add it in. I clicked it twice, so it had it in twice, but I should be able to delete it, make sure that that works. It does. Cool. All right, so that is working. We can save it as a template. So then in the future, we could basically have this structure and add it on later. So this is cool, but what I'd love to do is make it easier for anyone to create these plans and use AI to do that. And in order to do that, we are going to use the built-in AI feature through Lovable Cloud. This is another really big benefit of using Lovable Cloud, is that you can use AI through your Lovable subscription and use up separate credits for that. So I'm just going to say I want the AI to build out a plan for me based on what I want. Please also show some suggested prompts as well for the user that the AI can use to build a plan for us. Okay, so the feature is built. We can click generate with AI. And it did exactly what I wanted. It gave me some suggested prompts, or I can write my own prompt. But let's use one of the suggested prompts. A 5-week body strength program, 3 days a week for a busy beginner. So we can generate that program, and it's using the Lovable AI credits in the background to do it. Okay, we got an error. Again, let's try the try to fix button and see if that can resolve it. And this is actually a somewhat common error with AI when you're using it inside of an app. So it looks like probably the result of the AI response didn't match the schema that was expected of the app. So the app was expecting certain schema. Schema means like the results, how the results are organized basically, and it's going to fix that. Typically that's fixed with a stronger prompt of the AI to make sure it matches. All right, so it says it fixed it, switched to a more reliable model. So let's try generating again. So we'll do the same prompts, and it looks like it worked. We have our plan. We have a 5-week plan that it created. Each day we have 3 days, and each day we have a different plan. So day 1, back squat, bench press, barbell row, overhead press, and plank. We can also preview this as a mobile device, so we can see it that it works. It is mobile optimized for both tablet and desktop, which is cool to see. And we can go ahead and save this as a template. So we can name it beginner full body strength, save it as a template. And now we can go in and we can add information about what we did, how many kilograms. We can also update that to pounds if we wanted to do that instead of kilograms, and how many reps. And then it'll save as we go along in the backend database. And that's what's so powerful about using the Lovable Cloud and Lovable for the full stack backend database, is that this can be saved for my user, but then anyone else can log in, create their own workout plans, and save it for themselves. Under AI here, we can see, okay, so there were 3 calls. So I think that extra one did just get added. And to add more features to Lovable, we would just go to the left side. We would add more features. They also have a cool kind of suggested feature preview here on the bottom. So based on our conversation, it can suggest additional features to create. Something else I want to show you, which is really cool before we jump into actually publishing it, which I'm going to show you in just a second, is the annotation feature. So you can click this annotation and you can circle, you can cross things out, you can do all of those, whatever you want, just by drawing And then you could type a prompt and say, using the annotations, do this. And basically it's going to use the annotations that you created in the actual prompt. So that's just a really cool feature that you can add that you should be aware of with Lovable. And these are kind of the things that I think make Lovable easier to use than something like Claude Code, for example, just because it has all of this built in. So let's go ahead and publish it next. And then I'm going to share with you a technique that I use if I want to go off of Lovable and continue building in something like Claude Code if you want to get more advanced. So to publish it and deploy, all you have to do is click publish on the top. You can edit the URL, so the subdomain for Lovable if you want, or add a custom URL if you want, but let's keep it just at the basic URL here. And then we can go ahead and say anyone with the URL can access it on the public, but if you're on the business plan, you can publish it so only this workspace can view it or only selected workspace members. You can add an icon and title if you'd like, add a description if you'd like, and it'll kind of show you what it'll look like here on Google. But I'm going to go ahead and generate with just our whatever the defaults are for now, and then we can publish. And then later, what you can do is run a deep security scan. So by default, it ran a basic security scan to make sure that there's no obvious issues. But the deep security scan will do a deeper AI codebase analysis. It takes about 4 minutes based on our codebase size. So that's a cool thing to be able to do before you have users actually on your app. So we're going to go ahead and click publish. So it's going to publish our actual app. All right, and our app is now live. So we can click view app. And now we are viewing this on its own URL. This is accessible on the internet. Anyone can access it. And we have our landing page. You can sign in, you can log in. So let's click sign in. Let's create a new account. I'm going to click get started. You can log in with Google or email our password. Why don't I try the login with Google and see if it works? It worked perfectly, which is awesome. So that's another really cool feature is that Lovable has that all built in easily. So let's try to generate a program with AI, and we're going to do a 4-week push-pull leg split for muscle growth, and we'll click generate program, and it worked perfectly. We have our 4-week plan, 6 days a week, really, really cool. And you can also change the plan if you want, but let's go ahead and save the template. And now if we go home, you can see this template is only showing up on my account because this is my personal account now, as opposed to our account we were doing before, which has its own template. So this is what I mean by each user has their own information in the database that's accessible to them because of the user authentication that's set up. So I promised you I'd share this advanced technique to actually sync your code with GitHub. So to do this, we're going to click on the top left to click our project title, click settings, and then you're going to go to Git and then GitHub. So if you click that, we can connect to our personal GitHub account, sync our projects with GitHub, and then you're not locked into the Lovable ecosystem, at least with the code. Now, if you did set up Lovable Cloud, you are still connected to the Lovable Cloud, but you can actually still update the code outside of Lovable in Claude Code or Codex, for example. So just with that one connector, you can connect to GitHub or GitLab as well if you want, so that you're not fully locked in. So if you want to just start in Lovable, build your basic MVP, and then build outside of Lovable to build more advanced features, that is definitely an option. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned something and now know how to go from start to finish, building and deploying an app with Lovable. If you have any questions at all, leave a comment below. Subscribe to our channel to get more free content like this, and click the link in the description to try out Lovable for free. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.